Hey everyone, what is going on? Hopefully you guys are feeling good. I've been eating a lot of junk food recently, so I'm feeling kind of crappy, but we're going to be talking about the iPhone 5S and how it holds up in 2018. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a really hard time saying 2018. I keep saying 2017 or writing my papers and stuff in 2017. But before I even get too far in this video, I'm doing the Xbox One giveaway and I'm giving it away to one of you guys. So literally to enter, you just have to subscribe to the channel and add me on all the social networks. All the links are in the description. So it's super easy to enter and I'll probably be picking winner in the next month or two. So keep it locked down on Twitter and I'll keep you guys updated about that. But yeah, with all that set aside, let's just go into it. So looking around the body, I still think this iPhone is the best designed iPhone Apple's ever made. Of course, I'd rather have a bigger iPhone, but just the whole, this was one of their most professional looking iPhones in my opinion. Looking at the front, there's a 4-inch screen. There's an 8 megapixel camera on the back. There's a 1.2 megapixel camera on the front. The speaker's on the bottom near the lightning connector and volume buttons on the left hand side and the power button on the top. Now there's two sad main things about this phone. Number one, this is probably the last year the iPhone 5S is being supported. Honestly, it had a good run. It had many updates, many years of updates. So now another bad thing is that my 5S specifically has a touch disease problem and the home button stopped working. So it's completely my fault. I don't even know what I did. It was kind of chilling there and all of a sudden this started happening. But I'm pretty sure it's my fault. It is not Apple's fault at all. And I guess the third bad thing is that since Apple was caught slowing down their phones, this phone was one of them, but this phone does not qualify for the $29 discount. So that kind of sucks really badly. But you can always change it yourself, which isn't too hard. You can easily do it following some tutorials on YouTube and stuff. So I would highly recommend you guys do it. I'll leave some battery links in the description if I find any. Now turning it on, you're presented with iOS 11.2.1, which is the latest version that this supports. And iOS 11 is the last version it's getting. Probably won't be getting iOS 12 unless Apple totally ditches their philosophy and supports this for another year. Now the main thing to keep in mind is that this phone has slowed down heavily. And now I'm not just saying that, I'm not the one to be having the latest and greatest. My personal phone is an iPhone 7 Plus. I really don't think you need to upgrade all the time. And sometimes I just look at, the differences and I don't really care if my phone is slower by 0.1 seconds of opening speeds versus an iPhone 8 or iPhone 10 or whatever. But I could not personally use this phone because it just seems somewhat slow. And I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. I've had much slower phones than this and stuff, but I mean, I could definitely use this phone, but I just would not really enjoy it. Apps tend to, close out in the background and it take a long time to even come up. Things tend to be slower. Multitasking is just slower. But I mean, if I had to sum it up, overall performance is okay. Doing small tasks and multitasking between the small tasks is fine. Don't get me wrong. But when you start getting into the heavier tasks, that's when things start to, close out and stuff like that. Now, funny thing is that the iPhone 5S and the iPhone 6 are actually more similar than they are different. I mean, I would highly recommend an iPhone 6 over the iPhone 5S, but they're really not too far off in terms of speed and performance. Now, gaming is also pretty interesting. Since my phone does have the touch disease problem, I had to pick a heavy intensive game that does not require touching the screen, and that was Real Racing 3. And a lot of you guys are gonna hate on me, but I just want to say I understand it's not the most heaviest intensive whatever, but it's the best one I could find with my specific scenario that I'm in. But loading times are kind of long, but the actual gameplay honestly is kind of surprising. Of course there's skipped frames and whatnot, but I mean it's completely playable. If I had to, I could definitely finish the game with this. It's not unbearable by any means, but it's crazy to see how much this phone has actually slowed down. This phone used to be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and now it's you can pick one up for less than 100. Now one thing that also shocked me was the cameras on this thing. Now they're still actually very good. They're not the best cameras by any means, but I mean they're very decent for what they are, for how old this phone is and how cheap this phone is. So iPhones have always been notorious for having really good cameras, and I don't know if it was a mixture of my really good lighting that I have in the specific desk space, or if it was that the camera is actually really good, but the videos, the photos all turn out fairly decent. I'm sure if I went to low light, they would turn out way more grainy and stuff. And I actually did a comparison, I think a year ago or 2 years ago, it was a year ago, between the iPhone 5S, iPhone 6, and iPhone 7 cameras. And if you guys want to see that video, it's deep in my channel, but you can search on YouTube. And honestly, at the end of it, the iPhone 7 you could tell was actually a lot better, but not by a lot. And I'm sure you could say the same thing about the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 6 or whatever, but it's kind of cool to see that. One of the main downsides of this camera though is that it doesn't have too many features, pretty much the bare essentials, but it does have slow-mo, so if you guys are into that, this phone does have it. And battery life is also kind of weird. This phone, no iPhones have removable batteries, so the batteries are older, they're kind of deteriorated. Like I said, they're not amazingly hard to replace, but they're not that easy. I mean, there's tons of tutorials on YouTube, you can easily find one. I would highly recommend replacing it since Apple does slow down their phones if your battery deteriorated. So it only makes sense if you have this phone or if you want this phone, you're going to get it and you get it used, you might as well just replace the battery. So to sum up, and this is kind of personal, you have to ask yourself, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on your phone, or you need literally the bare essentials and you don't really plan on doing more heavier tasks or whatnot, then you could definitely get like a year out of the use out of this phone. Definitely, this phone is still getting supported, so and there's a reason it's getting supported still, but you have to really be stretching it. I mean, I would highly recommend replacing the battery if you do get this phone, but honestly, if you can afford even jumping up to an iPhone 6, that's going to be worlds different than the iPhone 5s. And if you can even come up with a little bit more to buy the iPhone 6s, that would be so much better. That the iPhone 6s could easily last you like another year, like another 2 years or 3 years. So I mean, I'll link the iPhone 5s, iPhone 6, and iPhone 6s all in the description, so you can easily get them if you need to. I'll link some batteries down there as well, so you can replace them if you need to as well. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it makes sense. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them down in the comment section. And if you guys have a phone or anything you want me to review, leave it down in the comment section, dude. I have so many videos coming out, it's insane. We're gonna keep the ball rolling. Also, if you're ever curious on what phones or devices or electronics I have, you can always go to fenwa.com/gear, links in the description. It shows all the stuff I have, what I film with, my lighting, phones, all the links to everything. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.